Hey, how's it going? This is Roy from RateMyFuneral.com. That was Rate, by the way. Hello! I'm back again. Every now and then I do a tutorial. So I am back. I'm going to try... Now, I'm not even going to say I'm going to try and do more because it's rubbish, as you all know. No, I'm just busy. I have so many different things. Everything it needs doing at once. Plus, VR is coming, so I'm all excited and... I'm a bit distracted with stuff to do with that as well. So, but none of that in this tutorial. Nothing to do with it. So, the reason I'm looking down here, because this is what we're going to do. Now, this is a kind of strange obsession of mine. You may have noticed that I have a thing about light bulbs. I don't know what it is. I like light bulbs. And this is a cool sort of filament style light bulb that I got from a popular Swedish furniture store. And it won't really work, but it's just got a really cool glow to it. And I like that a lot. So that's nifty. So yeah, I thought we'd make this and then maybe do some dangling from the ceiling on wires or something. It seems quite simple, but to create this curly stuff inside is actually quite tricky. So that's why I thought it might make quite a good one to have a look at. Yeah. So without waffling on anymore, let's get on in and hop on into thing. Cinema, that's the one. Right, let's do it. There it is. I found it. Right. Okay. Let me just get a bit more comfortable here. Excuse me. Right, now. Oh, look, there I am. Here's a little me. Hello. No, don't mess around with that. Right. I'm being distracted already. Okay, so I need a picture of the bulb, and I have one here. I've got a folder here and a nice picture. I'm pointing to it for some reason. I don't know quite why. Let me just switch the camera off a second. And basically we're going to use this as a reference image. So if I, first of all, go to the front view and go to the options, configure, and then back, we can put an image on the background. Look, boom, there we go, and there's our image. So it kind of gives us something to work from, which is really handy. I suppose I'm doing this in R17. I can't think of really anything that is specific to R17 in this, so you can go back several versions. It shouldn't really make any difference. I'm going to try and cover everything as much as I can, but I am kind of assuming that you've played with cinema a little bit and you kind of know, like when I click these buttons to get back to the front view and that sort of thing. But I'll try and explain everything as I go anyway, like I normally try and do anyway. So, right, let's go back to the foreview. So, a couple of things. Firstly, I'm going to make the sphere by using a sphere. And what I want to actually do is, rather than trying to move this into the position to follow the background, I'm going to move the background to match this. That way it keeps my center point consistent, if that makes sense. So go back into this one, maybe make it full screen, configure, or Shift V if you can be bothered to reach your keyboard. And oh no, we want to come down a bit. There we go. I'm just going to try and line this up as best I can. Like I say, I just want to try and get it so it's the image that is centered, and that way when we create new things, they'll always appear in the center, and that will make life a little bit easier for us. I'm also going to turn on grad shading with lines because we want to see those, and down in this one as well I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm just going to go to display and then select wireframe. That way I can see these lines in this one as well, because this is going to make this a bit easier. Now I'm going to modify this sphere so that I'm just this top half by adding segments. So obviously this is just adding more and more geometry to the sphere, and the more of these you add, the closer you can get to it before you start seeing shapes, because we're going to make this editable, which means we can't use the render perfect option. Plus I want to get a line to line up perfectly with this line here, which there it is. So in this case 33 is spot on. Excuse me. I've been drinking Coca-Cola. See? And it's making me gassy. So I may be burping a little bit, but I'll try not to. So anyway, Select the sphere and press C, and that will make it editable. If you don't want to press C, you can click this button over here and that will make it editable. We're then going to select the polygon mode and come up to here to the rectangular selection, and I'm going to untick only select visible elements, because basically I want to just draw a square here and just grab everything. So if we look at that in our main view, see, that's grabbed everything. So that's exactly what we wanted to do. So now I'm just going to hit delete, and that will get rid of those for me. So we've created the top half of the bulb, and I'm now going to just clean this up a little bit, because basically if we press points mode, you can see there's a bunch of points that are still there. So just to keep this tidy, if we press Control A and then right click and do optimize, it'll just get rid of that and tidy that up a bit for us. I'm going to go back to the polygons mode and press Control A again, and that's going to select all of the polygons, and then I'm going to press D, and this will give me the extrude tool. Now I want to make sure that create caps is ticked down here, so I'm just going to tick that, and then I'm going to have a look inside a little bit and just click and drag. So basically, if you see what I'm doing here, I'm kind of creating an inner shape. So this is just giving the glass, or in this case it's actually plastic, but it's giving it some thickness. So that'll do. That's perfectly fine for this case. And also, for while we are playing around, I'm going to go to Sphere, Basic, and then turn on X-Ray, and then that's just going to make that transparent. It's not a texture, so if I press Render, it's still it's still a solid at the moment, but that just allows me to see through it in the viewport. And I know I need to get into the hang of using these keys. 1 moves around like this, 2 zooms in and out, 3 rotates around, and I know I need to get into the hang of that, and I'm still using these just because I'm so used to it. So I know. Anyway, right, let's continue. We have our top section. The bottom section you can do sort of similar ways, or you can use a Loft Nurbs. It depends on what you're using this for, how much geometry you want or don't want. I'm going to go with the Loft Nurb in this case just because it's quick, and for tutorials I don't want to be here all day, as I'm sure neither do you. So let me just line this up down here. We'll use this one and line this up about right. So about there. Lovely job. And let's use this one, and we'll do the scale. So radius, we'll just drop the radius. We can go in bigger increments if we hold shift while pressing down. If we look at the image, it kind of just sticks out ever so slightly, so I just want to come slightly out about there. Okay, great. Now the way the Loft Nurbs works is if I put this circle inside a loft, so keep the circle highlighted, hold down Alt and select Loft, that will put the circle in. Now any circles that go above this, you can move this way and it will create geometry. Any circles that go below this will move this way and it will create geometry. So my first one, I just want to come up a little bit, so I'm just going to hold Control and click and drag and just make a copy above the first circle like this, and then press T and just shrink that in a little bit. Maybe not quite so much, actually. That's probably a bit too much. Something like that. That will give us just a slight bit of a round edge when we start moving downwards, because now if I click this and hold Control, right, hang on, let me try and explain this properly. So hold Control, click this arrow and pull down. When you release, it will create a copy of the circle for you, which means that, obviously you don't have to keep creating copies. So we'll grab this one and we'll just slide it all the way down to about where this shape kind of starts to bow a little bit, and we'll press T and just shrink that in. Right, so as you can see here, it hasn't followed it that well. So what I'm actually going to do is just move this back up and expand it till it is about in line with that, and then press space to go back to this and hold Control and click and drag and release the click, release Control, press T, and there we go. We can just kind of do this basically just following this curve, and it will give us this curve quite nicely. And you can see we're slightly off center here, and this is why I was trying to line this up earlier, but obviously I missed a little bit. Let's just keep going for now. So we'll do another one of these, and I'll follow this wall rather than this one. So that's not so great. So maybe we'll just put that there. something like that should just about do it. That then gives us this cool curvy shape, which is exactly what we wanted. The one thing I will say is obviously there's a lot of geometry in there that's probably unnecessary, and you can actually reduce that just by lowering in the loft the mesh subdivisions. So if we don't want to go round so many times, we can just lower that. I'll keep it about 26, and the V is that way, so we'll just remove some of those. And then that will just keep that so it doesn't use quite so much geometry for no particular reason. Okay, so we're off to a good start. The next bit is some naming. So we're going to say this is glass. Like I say, on the actual thing, it's not actually glass, but we'll call it glass in this case. And this is the base, we'll call it. I'm not sure if that is what you even call that, but we'll go with it. The next thing I'm going to want to do is create these guys here. And I'm just thinking about how I want to best do these. I think I'm going to just simply use some primitives. So we'll use a cylinder and bring this down to about the middle point of that. And then in my cylinder settings, we can bring the radius in until we're about right there. And the height, we can drop that to about there. There we go. And now I'll just fillet cap and reduce that. Now, depending on, again, where this is being used, is how many segments you want there. And also, you might want to do a similar sort of thing to what we did earlier. Let's just stretch that up a little bit with the sphere. So we've got all this extra geometry here, which is essentially hidden. So I'm not going to be looking at changing the size of this. This is a cylinder that's going to stay as a cylinder. I'm not worried, so I'm going to make it editable. Again, select the polygons, select the rectangular selection, make sure that's not ticked, and then just drag and grab that top and just hit delete. And again, just go to points mode, select all, right click and optimize. And then that way we're saving us a little bit of geometry there that we don't really need. One thing I do wish I'd done before I did that though, I'll forget the grammar, was that I'd already wish I'd made this tube because I could have used it, but it doesn't matter. We'll go ahead anyway. Let's see the best way. We'll use a capsule, I think. Let's create a capsule. I should say I haven't really practiced this one, so I am kind of making it up as I go along. Do I want to do it like this? Do you know what? Yeah. And I'm going to do this exactly the same thing again here. This is one of those things where there is a multitude of ways to achieve the same thing, and some are slightly better than others, and others have benefits over the others. And it's one of those times when it's kind of, does it really matter? So we'll just reduce the geometry on these a little bit. We don't need quite so much detail. And what we will do is make our capsule editable. Once again, rectangle, grab the top of it, delete it, go to points, select all, right click, optimize. And I'm going to do an extra little thing on this one, which is just future proofing me a little. And it's basically, I'm going to grab this bottom section here, and I'm going to go to select set selection. And then that gives me this little triangular set selection tag here, which is just those polygons in a selection. So I can specifically apply a texture just to that section without having to worry about it. So it's just, that will come later. So we've got that done. The next bit I want to do is create the what do you call these? The thread, that's the word. So the thread, so for the thread we'll use a Helix Spline. So with the capsule selected, I'll hold Alt and select Helix and then take the capsule back out. The reason for that is it puts it in the same space as this without me having to move it, although it's in the wrong plane. So we change the plane to XZ, and that will now be going up. And we'll move this to the bottom like this. And the height we will line up so it is to about there, I think. And I need to bring in these two radiuses. So let's just put in 50 and 50 and see if that's about right. Oh, it's close, but not quite. So bring that one to about there. bit of trial and error. So something like that, and then we'll just lower that height a little bit. We're going to come to actually about there, because I might make an extra little bit just there. And the end angle we'll put up so that we have more ridges. So I'm not going to copy it exactly, I'm just going to make some because it doesn't hugely matter. So there we go, that'll do. Right, now we need to put that inside of a sweep, and then we need a shape to run across that sweep. So we just use something like a rectangle. So if I hold shift this time, that will actually put that inside the sweep for me. Now obviously my rectangle is huge, so I'm just going to hit T and shrink that right down. And let's get in and have a quick look at what we are actually doing here. So we've made a bit of a strange mess, but that's fine. So our rectangle, we want to tweak these until we get settings that look a little bit closer to what we really want. So it's a bit closer. I'm gonna have to put the, oh no, because I'm gonna create an extra bit, that's fine. So we need to fix a few things here. So under the sweep object, we're gonna turn off banking, and then that's gonna even it all out a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to actually make the rectangle editable and move it so it's viewable. See, now I'm moving it, but you can't see that I'm moving it. But if I now just switch the sweep off, that just appears just down there, you see. If we make that editable, oh, I pressed S, that focuses on it. I didn't want to do that. I'll maybe come up a little bit. Ah, stop pressing S. Right, so we'll make this editable, which is C, turn the sweep back on, and we can still kind of just see that there's something there. So if we go to points mode, we can now see it again. And I'm going to grab that one and just move that up. Grab this one and just move that across. And basically I'm going to make a diamond, which I could have just done in the first place, but I didn't. So what you're going to do, let's get this about right-ish. So it's going to be something like that. There we go. And then if we just want to tweak that in a bit, we can maybe get the helix settings and tweak those, and that'll do me. I'm quite happy with that. Right, excellent. And now I'm just going to create one more cylinder and drag that down. Obviously that's huge, so let's shrink the radius in to about there, shrink that down, and just put that up there like that. So that's the bottom, and I'm going to fillet cap. And I would obviously recommend that you do the same thing that we've been doing earlier with this one. I'm not going to now, just because it's extra time for that I don't really need to worry about right at the minute. So anyway, that's done that for us. I'm not completely convinced by this bit here, so I might just make the helix. Well, mind you, you won't really. You'll probably never see it anyway. It'll be too far away. That's one of those things. If you're going to get close to it, maybe put a cap on it. Maybe that's what that just needs, a cap. Sweep, caps. Not that one. Cap, fillet cap. Ew, no, none. I'm not sure where this is putting the fillet cap. Oh, there it is. Right, turn off turn on constrain. Right, I'm having some real troubles here. Here we go. Right, there we go. And we can just move that to maybe 1.2. Yeah, something like that. I don't think it's a real issue. No, that's fine. We'll go with that. We're happy with that. Okay, so that's our thread and our bottom bit done. So great, we are getting somewhere, I think. Next, we go in and we'll turn off our glass, and we'll go and have a look at our image, because we've got a kind of tricky bit coming up. So we need to create this shape here, which is just a bit of a kind of blob. So the way I think I'm going to do that is just literally model it out of a cube, I think. So you're never going to really see this bit. This is quite incidental, so you don't want to spend too much time on it. but maybe we'll just make something. We'll make something a little bit interesting. So we'll place it there. My image it's not straight on in my image, which is a bit of a shame. So it's about the same width as the bottom. So if we get, where's my wide side? So that's height. There we go. Right. So if we go for about that kind of width total and make it a bit thinner, there we go. Right. That's what we'll work from. Oh, something else we can definitely do is the height. So we can make sure that we've got to about there, and then the height we can come up to here. That's fine. Okay, so let's add some lines to it. So segments 2, and then we're going to want the one in the middle. So that's fine, something like that. And we'll maybe make it a touch wider, because these are going to catch our light line things. Right. So let's go ahead and just make this cube editable. And I think the easiest way is just to stay on points mode, grab these two, maybe come down like this a little bit. Maybe go back to polygon mode, press I, and you can shrink that in a bit, and then press D and you can extrude. We'll extrude that up to, let's undo that, and we'll extrude it in one hit up to where we want to go. So it's up to about there. And I might just, I think, go for something like this I again, and just do something like that. Maybe grab this and this one and just extrude those a little, and maybe angle them down a bit. So we're just creating some interesting shapes with it. Then if I put that inside of a subdivision surface, it kind of gives us this weird thing, which is maybe not exactly what we want, but we can tweak this now. If we press K, we can get the knife, go to loop mode, and let's make the top bit circular like that. Basically cutting this, the closer to the edge you cut, the sharper the angle on it will be. So you you're just removing some of these sharp lines like this. And I think I might just go for that. And oh no, what have I done there? That one and that one. There we go. We'll come around and we'll do the same thing the other side. That one and that one. Yeah, that's fine. So it just makes a shape. It's a bit weird, but that'll do. That'll get us covered. All right, our next bit is to create this this shape here, which you can't really see, but it's like a television aerial. So you're going to have to just go with my word here. I'll create a new cylinder, and we'll shrink that down till it's about the same width as our top section, and I want to line that up so it's about the right height. So object, height, and I think I'll make this radius a little bit thinner. I don't want this too fat. There we go. And now along the top here, we've got basically these little loops and the TV aerial shape. So let's create a cube. Go back to normal object mode. We'll make this nice and thin, like that. And then if we line that up about the same as where that one is, we can make that about the same length. Yep, there we go. All right, let's just have a quick look at what we've got here. Okay. It's maybe a little bit wider than I want, so something like that. Okay. Then I'm going to make a copy of that cube. Click, drag, hold Control, release. And I am going to absolutely guess at this one. So about that. and by about that. Like I say, complete and utter guess. So put that at the end, and then with that cube selected, MoGraph cloner, hold down Alt, and that'll put that inside of a cloner. Zero out the amount that it's moved in the Y, and spread that across, and we need to make it so there's 4, and just line that up so that you've got all the way to the end there. So let's just move that. So maybe 68.5. There we go. Okay, so that's created our kind of TV aerial thing. I am a bit worried. I'm just going to turn the glass on a second. No, that's fine. No, that's cool. Right, so, because like I say, I am totally making this up now as I go along. I'm going to bring these so they're not quite so long. Lovely. Now I'm going to create a tube. So we'll create a tube. Shrink this down, T, shrink that right down. Get it in line with this. And I'm going to put that inside a cloner as well. MoGraph cloner. And I'm going to change the mode. Instead of being a linear cloner, I'm going to use a grid array. And obviously that's now made a ton of them. I'm going to reduce the number in the Y axis, and also reduce the number in the Z axis, and up the number in the X axis. And there we go. And that gives us our 4 positions, which is exactly what we want. So we can just maybe drag these in. You can control them either there or there. So we'll push that out. That should line up at about right. Now I'm going to just tweak the tube because they're obviously not right. So outer radius, we'll bring that right down. Inner radius, we'll bring that up. And the height, about there, yeah. Okay. So how are we looking in position wise? So these are a little bit far out, so far out, man. There we go. Okay, that seems about right. I might make them a little bit wider. Yeah, that should hopefully be about right. Okay, grand. We'll have a little tidy up now, because obviously we're getting lots of things with no names, and it's always good to name stuff. So let's have a little tidy up. So base, glass base, we'll say thread top, thread center. Ugh. That's the thread center. You go there when you want thread. Sweeps, so that's the thread itself. Cylinder, so this is thread lower top. It's so difficult to name stuff like this. And this is middle post thing. Antenna post. Ignore the spelling. Right. Middle bars rings. Lovely job. Right, let's put things together where they're supposed to be as well. So this rings, bars, middle, and the post, that can be all one. That was Alt and G when you've selected things to when you've made them to make them a group. That's what I'm trying to say. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. So threads, stuff. Let's put all the thread stuff together. G. Bulb screw. That's what we'll call that. Right. So now on to the tricky bit. Basically, to create these loop things, I was thinking that perhaps you could just draw them, and I did try that bit out. I just gave that a test, and it wasn't really working to try and manually draw these loops. It's really, really hard. Then I suddenly remembered that I did a tutorial not that long ago that was on how to make a kind of peely orange spiral thing from a sphere, and the same technique can be used for this. So that's what we're going to do now. So let's see. In our antenna, now we've got to watch this because that's not quite central. Ooh, not sure how that's happened, but the rings are, the middle obviously is central. So let's go from the rings. This is important. The reason I'm saying this is basically I want to create something that's dead center to that. So with the rings selected, I'm going to hold down Alt and create a cylinder. And then I'm going to take the cylinder out of that system. The cylinder I'm going to change to X, that's the one, to X. And I'm going to increase the size of it till it matches these loops to about the center point of them. Let's see, so about there will do just fine. Okay, then I am going to create a cube, shrink that right down, and place it inside of this one here. This is a bit tricky to see, so we'll just go to the outside view and place that. So that's now dead center and about there. Right, okay. Let's just hide the cylinder a second and zoom in here and shrink you down. Lovely old job. Okay, now I'm going to make the cube a child of the cylinder. It's vanished, but that's because we've got it switched off here. So I'm going to hold Alt, press there until it's green, and then that way the cylinder isn't visible, but the cube is. And this just helps us here. So my cylinder, if I select it and select rotate, you'll see that the cube will actually go all the way around to there at 180 degrees. So that gives us our perfect thing. So let's see what we want to do here. Let's slide this back here like this, and now our cylinder is set so that it's ready there. Let's see, frame 100. You don't need to, it doesn't really matter how many frames you use for this, so I've just made 500 frames. This will be, I'll do that in 20s, batches of 20 frames. Now, like I say, it doesn't matter, it's just 20 is quite an easy number to work with. So let's see, cylinder, position, keyframe, there we go. So we've set a keyframe for that position there at frame 100. Now, if I was to move forward 20 frames, I need to create the tracer. So under graph tracer, we need to add this. Because I had the cylinder selected, it's automatically tried to link to the cylinder. So I want to undo that, or not undo it, delete it, and put the cube in. There we go. There's an important point here, which I'll show you now. So our cylinder at frame, oops, I pressed play, at frame, this one, 120, excuse me. I'm just going to rotate that, holding shift to make it even to position 90. And also I'm just going to slide this back slightly and set a keyframe. Now, if we go to here and play this, what we've got there is a bunch of things. What do you call these? Lines, whatever. So you've got a bunch of, basically, these are essentially splines that are being traced from the position of the cube. Now we don't want that many, that's a bit crazy. So we'll go into tracer and we will set it so that instead of no, which one is it? Space, global, limit. My brain stopped. Oh, there it is, trace vertices. So untick that one. And if we rewind and go back to frame 100, all right, why is it? There we go. So we go back to frame 0 and press play again. There we go. And that's now made our kind of circle or semicircle that's kind of going that way. I'm hoping the words are the visuals. I'm hoping the visuals are doing a better job of explaining this than I am, because I'm confusing myself. And this is straightforward. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. So if you create a load of them, it's all right. Just start again and press play, and it will get rid of them. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. But I'm just going to work backwards a little bit now as well. So if I go to frame 80, I'm going to roll the cylinder back a bit to about there, and just come in a little bit like that, and keyframe. Then going to go back to 60 and again roll it down. I should have done that in specific increments so that I know exactly where I was, but doesn't matter. That'll be all right. Like that, and then we'll position it basically over here if I can find it. Oh, this is tricky to see. Oh, it's all the way over there. I basically want to get this cube there to that point there. There we go. And then set a keyframe, because then what will happen is that will draw me there. Right. Okay, so that's drawing my spline coming right out of there. Okay, I'm not completely happy with that movement actually. This is why I wanted to do that in more than one hit, but it'll do for now. It's all about tweaking. But the beauty of this is you can just set all your keyframes to where you want, hit play, and it'll draw it. So, okay, so let's move on. So position 140, our cylinder, I want to rotate it another 90 degrees and put it back inside of there and hit keyframe. Now we're going to come under and come up to here. So up to 160, rotate 90. I'm just working in 90 degrees just so that I can kind of make it seem a bit fluid. So I'm moving to about halfway point there as well. Set the keyframe up to 180, rotate all the way around the remaining 90 degrees and through the hole. Okay. Then 200. Again, we'll go 90. And we'll just come back a little bit like that. Don't worry about all these lines that you're seeing. It's because we need to run the animation in order to make it write the proper lines. So again, same thing. Boom. 240. Got to watch the middle here, so we don't want to intersect it. So we'll go to about there, and then go to 260. Rotate around, and hopefully that won't intersect it, but we might just test it. So let's just have a quick look. So if we go all the way from the beginning, so that's drawing our spline for us nicely. Threading, lovely. Right, perfect. Okay, so 280. Excuse me, 90, and I'm going to come just to this way slightly. 300, 90, put that in, 320, 90, about halfway, 40, okay. This is such a great technique for creating like these nice fluid shapes and stuff. So this is my bit coming back in again, so I want to be a bit careful here. Try and keep an eye on it this time. So we'll move in just a little bit more. Oh, 399, don't like 399. Damn. So about there, if we go 50, then to about there. And that way I then go another 40 and down and across to it's about there. All right, let's see. Hopefully this should do the job. Lovely. Beautiful. Okay, that's actually a much better exit as well than the entrance. Or it's about not dissimilar really. But anyway, that is exactly what we want. So now that we've got that, we shan't press anything else down here. We right click on the tracer and we press current state to object, and that will give us a spline called tracer, which we can now use. So our tracer will switch off and our cube will switch off, and we'll just put those to the bottom out of the way. Now see that, if you look at it from the side, it's perfect. You look at it from the top, it's a little bit wibbly, which is good. Okay, grand. There's plenty you can do to tweak it if you want. Like there actually is a little bit close. If we just go to points mode, the problem is it does create a lot of points, but you might want to just maybe grab these and just move. No, I don't really want to mess with it. There are ways around this, but you know what? Let's see what it does. It might be all right. Let's see. Let's put this into a sweep, and we'll create a circle holding shift. And look at the size of that. T, shrink it down. There we go. Oops, got a little bit close there. That's pretty cool. Our circle, if we come in and put the angle up, then that will reduce the amount of polygons in there. We don't really need that many. So we can see that this it's not too bad. It is intersecting there though, which is gonna bug me. Okay. We can fix it. We'll fix it. We'll delete the tracer one. We'll turn on our tracer again. Turn on our cube, make that green, and let's just get to that point. So it's here, 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 then it's here. Let's move it when it's at this one, 0.400. So, press the wrong button. So frame 400, we just want to move maybe that over a little bit like that and just reset that. Then we'll set this to run again. This should hopefully fix this issue now. Woo! Okay, there we go. They're not quite so close now. That's fine. You can actually use the tracer directly in the sweep, but I don't want to lose that information or anything like that, so I'm just going to do current state to object, switch that all off again, stick that inside underneath the circle, and there we go. There we go, that's better. Right. Okay, so we've created the inside section. If we turn on the glass again now, that's kind of what we've got, which is kind of what we want, which is good. Okay, I don't know how long we're doing on time. This has been a while. Another long one again, hasn't it? Let me have a drink. Right. So that's the bulb created. So now it's just a case of texturing and doing stuff with it. And what I think I will do is I'm going to texture it using text. I'm sorry, this is cheating on my part. But you're welcome. You know, if you've got text and you want to use it, then fine. All it is just it's just the textures. So it's the set I released recently. I don't want to waffle on too much about it during the tutorial, but it just gives me a bunch of textures sort of ready-made, so I can just dump them straight onto this without having to, having to make textures and everything. But obviously, feel free to make your own, or if you've got this, use it, or if you want it, go ahead and feel free to get it from the shop. Yeah, cheers. Right. Anyway, so where are we going? Let's start at the bottom. So none of this cylinder stuff. So the glass, I'll just use one of my glass textures. Just a straightforward clear glass should be fine. For the base, inside of here, that's this main bit. So just a simple synthetic plastic grey. Then metal we'll have maybe a shiny chrome for the bulb screw section. Inside of here, do you remember we kept this? And this was for the threaded top bit. So I just want to basically use something like shiny white on that one. But what we do is we use this triangle here, and there we go. That just does that section for me. But I do need to also put a copy of that on there, so it uses that too. Okay, lovely. Inside we have got we'll use the plastic again for the middle post thing, and then we've got this, which is kind of copper, so maybe under metal we'll go and we'll select copper dull, and we'll put that on the antenna. And then for this tube we want an illuminated one, so I'm just going to go for super bright yellow for now, and that one we will probably have to tweak. Actually, I'm going to go super bright white and just see what it does. Right, okay. So no environments or anything at the moment, so this probably won't look particularly nice when we just hit render. No, I was kind of right there. But if, out of curiosity, I'm just wondering if we put global illumination on and then just make, I don't know, interior preview or something, and then just hit go. Just curious to see how this is going to kind of glow up. So that is, it is creating some light, but it is yellow. So let's just go into here and we'll just push it slightly more to the yellow. Oh, that's in color. We need to affect the luminance channel. So we'll just push it slightly more to the yellow color like that. Yeah, that's looking cool. Oh, I like it. Oh, I like it a lot. Okay, great. So let's do something with this now. Let's create a scene. I'm going to do it again, I'm afraid, just to save myself a little bit of time here. Let's create an Nvidia Pro Studio. This is just basically the lighting setup. So if it just gives me a 3-point lighting studio there and then. If you want to use something else, then feel free, or just create some lights in the scene or whatever, just this is just me playing now, really. I've made the bulb. I'm just going to shrink the size of it down a little bit because it's quite large. There we go. And let's turn it up the other way. Let's create something. Actually, before I turn it up the other way, just out of curiosity, how is that looking if we just hit render now? Yeah, not too bad. Pretty cool. We've got some anti-aliasing issues that we would need to fix, and some cool reflective lighting issues. I do need to, in video, if you're ever using clear textures and you have a background through it, you do need to come in and tick this box just so it renders properly. But what I'm just trying to think, because I'm absolutely ad-libbing now, so I'm going to make the background black, but maybe just off black, like a grey. Put this in a group and call it bulb, and then rotate it. Maybe create a cylinder. Let's do it from, well, is that central to that? Hang on, if I press Alt and create a cylinder. Yeah, it is. That's fine. Okay. Don't want to spend too long on this sort of thing because it is just playing. The caps, fillet. Maybe add a few more segments. Reduce the height. Ooh, that cap doesn't look right now, does it? There we go. Ooh, go something like that. Make that editable. Let's delete. I can't really see what I'm doing here. Let's just select those and delete those. That isn't central to that as well. I don't know at what point that happened, but somewhere along the lines this has become non-central to it. It's not the end of the world. We'll just line it up, and we will shrink this down till it's about there. Cool. And we'll also just do that as well. Something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's create another cylinder. I'm just literally just gonna add something like that for nothing other than giggles. Make a copy of that cylinder, shrink that right in, make that a lot taller. Slide, make that much taller, slide that up here so it's out of the way. Okay. And then hit render to just have a quick look, see what that's looking like scale wise. Pretty cool. Okay, we want to make this kind of a black plastic or something, so let's go back into text and go to synthetic black plastic. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's cool, huh? I don't know. Let's grab all of that, put that into a group, put that into a cloner, make it a grid array. One lot. Move them apart. Is that too many? That might be too many. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing now. I'm just playing. I think I've said that about 20 times. Sorry. So random. Move them all around a bit. Move them up, down a bit. Something like that. I don't know. Go into our render settings. Let's set it to film 1080. Something like that. Let's go into our cloner, just pull them a bit closer together in that direction. Right, I am currently sitting inside my light box. Whee, there we go. We could probably turn the floor off. And maybe go into my lighting and just turn all of the lights down slightly. If you want the bulbs to be brighter, just up in the luminance channel, just up this. And then that will be brighter and brighter and brighter. But I don't want it too bright because I want that yellow to kind of shine through a little bit. So something like this. I don't know. That's cool. Let's go physical renderer. Turn on depth of field, progressive. I want to add more. I want more bulbs. These are cool. Right. Let's add more bulbs. So we'll just add the numbers there. Look, we'll just spread them out a bit. Then, oh, I'm upside down. Then we'll create a camera and we'll make it say 80. Ugh, I need a bulb selected so I can pivot on it. I'm still, I know I said about this at the start of this, that I must stop using these, and I'm still doing it. And then if we use the top down view, zoom out a bit, let's see where our camera focal point is, because we could actually maybe make this something quite low, like 0.8. Actually, I think that's probably going to be a bit too low. Let's go 1.8 and make our focus distance somewhere in the middle. And then move it so that that doesn't matter anyway. I think I've got too many now, haven't I? I just want to kind of something like that. I don't know. Stop saying I don't know. Let's move this focus point again. We'll focus on that bulb there. And let's just see what that looks like. I'm thinking that maybe I don't know, it looks a bit of a mess, doesn't it? Oh, blooming hell. All right, change of plan. Let's make it so they're not a grid array, let's make it linear. Turn off the random effector. Let's get rid of Nvidia Pro and we will try where am I going? There we go. So I can try and see what I'm actually doing here. Right. We'll just add a bunch of them. Let's check where our focal point is. We'll put it on the third one. Let's actually drop this right down. 0.4. We need a studio. Why did I take out in video? I didn't mean to do that. Let's turn off the floor. This is kind of cool. I'm thinking actually, rather than in video, in this case, maybe this is one for dark. R16. And let's move that down. Go into lighting and turn off all the lights. And see what it looks like. Ooh, that's cool. Let's get a bit of floor in there. Something like that. Let's try it. Let's do a proper render and see what it looks like. Well, it's interesting. It's something to play around with, isn't it? So, a bit of fun. Bit of fun. Let's finish off. Back to... Oh, getting confused. Back to Infidio. We'll just have one, because this will be my thumbnail picture, so I need to make this look cool. So let's do just off black again. So back to how we kind of were already. Let's maybe make the floor reflective but a little bit blurry, might look interesting. Line the picture up, something like that. I want the floor kind of to have a little bit of reflection on it. Maybe we'll move away just a touch and we'll come back into our physical renderer settings and turn off depth of field. And let's just have a look at how our other ones come out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's quite smart. All depends on what you want to do, really, I guess, doesn't it? I mean, if you even want to make an LED filament light bulb, you might not. So let's stop that rendering a second and set this one going. That looks pretty cool. I think you know, one of the things that I didn't do, you know, what I should have done. Let me just stop that real quick. I should have just rotated this and set maybe like random on the rotation for all the hanging ones. That's why it wasn't quite looking right to me. That's where my problem was. So in case you're interested as well, when you set a progressive render like this, it will just keep rendering forever and it'll just keep making it better, and you can see how many passes you've done there. When you're ready and you like the image you've got, never use this for animations, only ever for stills. Hit right click on the image and do save as, and you can save it. You can choose PNG, TIFF or whatever, JPEG, and then you can use it in your projects and do what you want with it. So yeah, right, so let's let that go. Oops, get rid of that. So yeah, so let's just close that for a minute. So yeah, that's basically the end. So if you don't mind, I'll just do a little bit of self-promotion. I don't know if you've been on the site lately. Obviously, there's a bunch of tutorials and stuff. But in the shop, you have now my new text, which is my texture pack, which we used in this one. But I've also now, due to popular demand, made some bundles. So obviously we've always had the Nvidia Pro bundle, but now we've actually got the Pro and Text bundle, which gives you the two of those at a reduced price, and also now the Super bundle, which is basically every premium item on the in the shop for one price, which is like nearly half the price of everything, kind of thing. So it's a nice saving if you want to go with that. So I've just added these in, so please check them out. Obviously always let me know what you think. I'm always up for improvements if you can ever suggest anything to make the site better. People have been telling me about problems on the site. I know I've had a few problems with the site lately. Hopefully everything is now resolved. I was pointed out an issue with the coins tutorial. This is my oldest tutorial that's actually on the site. This is where I started, and it's crazy when I think about it now. But this page was broken and not working, so I fixed this. So now you can download the coin images again and all of that. So yeah, have a look around the site. And again, I love feedback. I don't always remember and get a chance to reply to everything I get, but I do try and reply. So please feel free to send me messages and all of that, and I'll do my best. So let's just have a quick look and see how that's looking now. If we put it to 100%. That looks pretty cool. Maybe a little bit of tweaking and I can get that looking absolutely spot on. But yeah, that's the general idea of that. So I hope this wasn't too long and dull, and maybe I'll see you again in the future. Okay, cheers. Bye.